Hello everyone. Konnichiwa. As part of my commitment to give back to the country and our region for the opportunities, experiences, and knowledge I gained in Japan during the Knowledge Co-Creation Program Young Leaders on Renewable Energy, I'm happy to share and conduct this re-echo session with the NRO Mimaropa. So to begin with, my presentation encompasses the following outline: program background, Inception Country Report, program lectures, site visits, notable Japanese values and practices, cultural immersion, courtesy visit, closing ceremony, conclusion, of course, the eco session materials, AVP on my JICA Japan journey. So let us begin with the program background. Under the training program details, the Knowledge Co-Creation Program Young Leaders Renewable Energy, so that's the title of the program, held and facilitated by the Japan International Cooperation Agency or JICA in partnership with the Conference of Earth Environment from Akita or SIA from July 9 to 25, 2024, so the 17 days duration, and held in Japan, Tokyo, and Akita City. As per the JICA, in terms of the program type, this program provided a comprehensive and immersive learning technical, leadership, pati na rin yung cultural experiences. So I'll also be sharing cultural experiences other than those that are technical in nature. By the way, as part of the primary mandate of JICA, this program is JICA's execution of Japan's government's official development assistance or ODA to the developing countries, including the Philippines, for the economic and social betterment of our people. So the program commenced with the arrival of the participants in Japan at Narita Airport via All Nippon Airways on July 9, followed by a journey to Akita via Shinkansen on July 10. So in Shinkansen, it's a bullet train, the fastest and most convenient transportation, and ang top speed is approximately 320 kilometers per hour or 199 miles per hour. So the participants, the training program is participated in by 13 focal persons. So 13 po kaming representatives representing our different government agencies. So that's concerning the power and energy sector in the country. So ang nag-participate na agencies are 9. NEDA, so together with the Region 9 and 10, the PISALM, NTC, provincial government of the Nueva Vizcaya and Albay, DBP, NEA, DOE, and the NAPOCOR. Inception Country Report. So the opening ceremony featured country reports from the participants. On my part, prinesent po natin ang Mimaropa's region's current renewable energy landscape as of the latest data provided by the DOE prior to the program. The current situation, accordingly, in Mimaropa, renewable energy accounts for only small portion of power generation with 50 megawatts, or that's just 14% of the region's total capacity coming from renewable sources like wind, biomass, geothermal, hydro, and solar. Despite efforts to diversify, over 80% of electricity still relies on oil-based plants, making the region vulnerable to petroleum price fluctuation. So ito talaga yung isa sa mga major issues na ni-raise natin. We emphasize that the region holds vast potential for renewable development. Significant untapped potential remains, highlighting the need for further investment to achieve sustainable and resilient energy future. So we also raise yung mga issues and challenges. Basically, dalawa yung ni-raise natin, yung susceptibility to high electricity. Of course, that's attributed to high fuel costs, high electricity costs due to unstable oil price, lack of alternative source of energy because we're still highly dependent on fossil fuels, and attributed to limited funding. And yung pangalawa, frequent power interruptions, outages, load shedding, curtailment of operations. So we highlight na rin na nabansagan na nasa Mimaropa, which is yung Oriental Mindoro, ang brownout capital of the Philippines. Attributed dito yung age, derated power facilities, transmission lines, electric posts, inaccurate demand forecasting, the supply of electricity is often short of demand, failure to supply contracted capacity, delay in energization of newly constructed power plants, and possible insufficiency in fuel supply. So there was a suggestion then to use electric insulators to prevent yung mga brownouts as they externally protect yung mga electric lines natin. Kaya sa atin madaling mag-brownout kahit yung konting pagdapo lang ng ibon, nagba-brownout. So insulators, they are used to protect protect din naman yung mga magagawa natin from dangerous effects of the electricity flowing through conductors, ano. So, the panel observer insights, Director of New Energy Industry Promotion Office, si Mr. Yoshinari Murakami specifically, dalawa sila nag-provide ng comment. Pero yung insight ni Murakami, his insights encompass the Japan's energy policy structured around several core pillars. Una, yung carbon neutrality by 2050. Japan is committed to achieving net zero carbon emissions by year 2050. This ambitious goal requires transitioning from fossil fuels to more sustainable energy sources and implementing various carbon reduction strategies across all sectors. Kaya intersectoral na rin yung approach talaga when we do the strategies and implement sustainable projects. The second one, renewable energy target, the policy sets a target of having at least 25% of the country's energy coming from the renewable sources. Achieving this target will require significant investment in the renewable energy infrastructure and technology. Sunod, Japan plans to replace coal and liquefied natural gas or the LNG with ammonia and hydrogen as part of its decarbonization efforts. Ammonia and hydrogen are considered cleaner alternatives because they produce no carbon emissions when used as fuels. By the way, just as a refresher, carbon emissions refer to the release of the carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases or GHGs into the atmosphere. So these emissions are primarily produced by burning fossil fuels, yung coal, oil, natural gas for energy, ginagamit sa transportation, sa mga industrial processes. Carbon dioxide is one of the most significant greenhouse gases because natatrap siya, yung heat niya natatrap sa atmosphere, contributing to global warming and the climate change. So, ayun, isa yun sa strategies yung pag-shift into cleaner alternatives like ammonia and hydrogen. He also provided insights regarding the Japanese policy, which is guided by the slogan na tinatawag na 3E plus S. It stands for safety. So ini-ensure na safe para sa tao at sa environment. Energy security, minemaintain yung stable and reliable energy supply to meet the country's needs. Economic efficiency ensures that the energy transition is cost-effective and supports economic growth. Environmental sustainability, minimizing environmental impact and promoting sustainability in energy production and consumption. Now, let's talk about the program lectures. Nagkaroon din kami ng mga ilang lectures or classes. Basically, this includes the Akitas Prefecture's renewable energy policies, the energy circulation creation and biomass power. We also learned about financial support for renewable projects, offshore wind turbines, and geothermal energy systems. Further topics included biogas power from the food waste and small-scale hydroelectric power systems, among others. Maybe around 5 days din yung dinedicate for the lectures and classes. So during the site visits, may mga pailan-ilan din pong nagle-lecture kami to better appreciate yung mga binibisita naming sites. And speaking of site, ito na po yung sa site visits. Basically, para kaming nag-FMB na maraming projects nga lang talaga yung mga pinuntahan. The participants visited several renewable energy facilities, gaining hands-on insights into Japan's innovative energy solutions. Key visits included the Akita Offshore Wind Farm, Mega Solar Power Plant, various biogas and biomass power generation facilities. These key visits demonstrated practical applications of renewable energy technologies. So I'll no longer delve into much details of all these sites since I'll just be highlighting a few significant locations or projects that caught my attention, in which I'll share some takeaways beginning with the solar sharing. So this innovative system integrates agriculture with solar power generation, highlighting sustainable approach that can be adopted to the Philippines agricultural regions kagaya dito sa atin sa Mimaropa. Solar sharing is a system that allows the agriculture to coexist with the power generation operation. So under the system, the facilities are called farming power generation facilities. Mga benefit nito, clean power generation methods using natural energy, power generation efficiency, less maintenance din siya, stable income through yung feed-in tariff scheme. I think dito sa Pilipinas, meron din naman tayong feed-in tariff in a certain Republic Act in which ginagaranti yung share ng mga electric producers para they continue providing electricity and generating electricity for the communities. Amount of the power generated according to sunlight and income from the sale of electricity. So I would just like to highlight yung effects of blocking sunlight on crops. As sunlight is essential for agriculture, it has been considered impossible to install solar panels on agricultural land, sabi daw. However, it has been observed that for many agricultural crops, actually, too much sunlight can hinder the growth of crops. So solar sharing, which uses the surplus sunlight for the photovoltaics, so ito yung mga panels natin, excluding the sunlight required, is effective for crops and has the advantage of preventing evaporation of water due to sunlight and reducing water in the summer. So plants grow with a certain amount of light and more sunlight, light saturation point is not necessary for plant growth. The lesson here is that blocking sunlight has been proven to have more positive effect on plants than we might think. So let's proceed on the Akita Offshore Wind Power Generation Farm. This site illustrated the economic and employment benefits of large-scale renewable energy projects. Sobrang dami nilang wind plants dito sa farm na to. This farm, the Japan's first commercial offshore wind farm, began operations in 2023, January last year lang, with 33 turbines standing 150 meters tall and generating 140 megawatts. It powers nearly lahat daw ng households in Akita City. So the project is set to create approximately 37,000 jobs and generate around 382 billion yen in economic benefits over its 20-year life cycle. On the other hand, it has already boosted the local economy with 8 billion yen from the construction, and doon naman sa accommodation and restaurant industry in Akita Prefecture, 1.6 billion yen. So basically, the farm's ability to power nearly all the households in Akita City emphasizes the potential for offshore wind energy to contribute significantly to energy security and economic growth. Now, Hatano Small Hydroelectric Power Station in Nikaho City, Akita Prefecture. So this project highlighted the importance of the community-based energy solutions. It serves to alleviate the financial burden on local farmers by using the proceeds from the electricity sales para i-cover yung maintenance and management costs. This project is crucial because 25% of the Land Improvement District's financial resources come from the local farmers' contributions. So this land improvement districts found throughout Japan are dedicated to maintaining, to repairing, improving yung mga agricultural roads and water facilities, as well as rezoning farmland to meet the farmers' needs. Therefore, small-scale hydroelectric projects can play really a crucial role when it comes to sustainable rural development. Applicable naman to sa atin kasi sa Pilipinas, there are even large-scale hydroelectric power taking into consideration the archipelagic characteristic of our country. Now, the biogas power generation facility. The facility's use of the food waste as recycling resource for power generation highlights naman the environmental and economic benefits of biogas technology by converting the incinerated food waste into methane gas. So methane gas po yung ginagamit for power generation. It recycles valuable resources and retrieves energy efficiently. This promotes a society focused on local production and consumption, waste reduction, recycling, and sustainable agriculture. So ayan, yung mga benefits niya. The food waste from the local community generates power, and the fermentation residue is restored to farmland as composting material. Akita City Total Environment Center Melting Sorting Recycling Facility. The advanced gasification technology used here exemplifies recycling and effective waste-to-energy conversion, generating electricity from waste materials kahit po mga basura ano, and minimizing landfill use by converting various refuse into resources. Kasi yung ibang basura naman ibinabaon natin sa lupa no, nami-minimize yon kasi ikino-convert na nga siya into energy. And high temperature melting transforms waste into slag and metal which can be recycled. Nakakatuwa nga ito yung mga product, pinicturean din namin. So, imagine, galing gawa siya sa basura itong mga ilang products na ito na-recycle lang siya. Kahit yung mga damit ang gaganda. May mga tissues din out of the recycled materials. Ano? The thermal energy generated is recovered and reused as electricity with any surplus sold. By minimizing final disposal, the facility aims for zero emissions and a significant reduction in the environmental impact. Wood biomass power generation. The Daysen Biomass Power Generation Company Limited in Akita demonstrated how the biomass energy can contribute to carbon reduction with wood chips. So wood chips yung gamit nila, providing a renewable alternative to fossil fuels. The plant generates electricity by burning wood chips. The CO2 or the carbon dioxide reduction is impressive with carbon emissions from electricity generation being absorbed back sa forest. Inaabsorb ulit siya sa forest, leading to a reduction of 23,000 tons of CO2 yearly. This might be not too applicable sa atin since minsan sabi nga nung lecturer namin, they really cut trees for just for purposes of generating power. Ganong karami yung environmental resources nila, specifically sa mga puno. Unlike sa atin, we first have to secure really tree cutting permits for implementing projects, although we have few similar projects naman across the country. But for Akita, this could be significantly beneficial. Environmental impact niya, yun nga, preventing global warming, protecting the habitat for diverse flora and fauna, growing water, preventing wind and blowing sand, preventing landslides, among others. By the way, before moving on, we're done with the site visits. Ano? I just want to mention the Japanese values during our site visits. They're really kind and warm. So here's some notable Japanese values and practices. Lahat po ng naka-interact namin during our site visits, hinahati talaga kami hanggang sa coaster at habang naandar kami papalayo, kakaway talaga sila. Hindi sila titigil hanggang sa mawala na kami sa paningin nila. Part na talaga yun ng culture nila. Ganun silang hospitable. Sobrang respectful, humble, and speaking of humility, napansin din namin na pag nagpipicture, hindi sila masyado napwesto sa gitna kahit sila yung main person for the photo opportunity. They're very sensitive pag napapansin nila that they are blocking someone sa likod. Very common sa kanilang yuyuko o talagang uupo na lang sila sa ground just to give way sa mga nasa likod. They're making the guests, kami po, feel that we are really important. Another is gesture of respect nila, yung laging nagbabaw. Hanggang ngayon nga, medyo na-adapt ko pa rin, nagbabaw-baw pa rin ako. But it's a very good gesture and practice of humility and respect. So nakakatuwa din, napansin namin na may mga braille on walkways sa lahat. Kahit sa mga road, streets, even inside establishments, kahit sa mga malls. This is very inclusive and sensitive sa needs ng ating mga kapatid na mga blind people. Another is organize sila, time conscious and discipline and caring. They do orient us palagi. Program are well detailed. Everything is well explained understandably and clearly. May mga rehearsals. Nagpa-practice kami. Yes, we did conduct rehearsals because for Japanese people, it is important as they are very organized and respectful sa oras. They are very particular on being on time. Dapat ganito lang on time for the presentation at yung mga classes and site visits and all. And also, meron din kaming Viber, ini-inform nila kami gabi-gabi na may kung anong oras ang call time kinabukasan. Si ano yan, itong picture niya, siya si Naomi Sato-san. Siya yung nag-serve as parang pinaka-guide namin dito and main coordinator. They really put premium value and respect din sa time, both professionally and personally, as productivity for them is one of the priorities. Very caring din sila. Lahat ng lakad provided yung service vehicle. Meron kaming mga sariling van and coaster. And they always ask if kamusta kami, kung may nararamdaman, nire-remind din nila kami na available yung mga medicines. So ayan, may mga rehearsals kami. Ayun, as matter of fact, pag 3 minutes, last 3 minutes, 1 minute remaining, nagtataas sila ng mga placards. Ayun yung mga sample pictures na naupo na lang sila to give way, no? Ito, nung paalis kami sa train, meron ding mga placard sila na magkita pa ulit, mahal nila kami and all. Sophisticated technologies making things really easy and convenient para sa tao, itong mga ito, no? Kilalang kilala naman ng Japan sa mga innovations nila na tunay na makakatulong sa tao. Like ito, yung tissues nila flashable pala, no? Tsaka yung electronic bidet integrated na dun sa toilet. Yung kasing tissue nila, water soluble siya. So flashable na siya sa toilet. Yung bidets naman, yung iba merong vertical jet intended to give easy access for washing, rinsing, at kahit drying sa perineum and anal area. So different directions din siya, different level din ng lakas kung gaano kalakas mo gusto. So payment machine naman, lahat ng bibilhan mo, kahit supermarket, kainan, restaurant, lahat, meron na siyang payment machine. The machine accepts both bills, pwede din yung coins. So you don't have to count your coins na. Basta ilagay mo lang lahat ng barya mo doon, ilalabas naman nila yung labis. Or kapag may kulang pa, magpo-prompt lang sa screen kung ilan pa yung kulang. And lastly, self-service. Clean as you go. There are designated place para sa pagre-return ng mga kinainan mo, exemplifying kung gaano talaga silang ka-organize. Alright, let us now delve into the cultural immersion. So dito, medyo magkukwento na lang din ako on this part, ano. The program really offered rich Japanese cultural experiences, including exploration of the traditional Kakonadate small castle town. So dito, nagkaroon kami ng pagkakataon na magpicture sa mga traditional houses sa Japan. Diyan ka talaga makakita ng parang you feel like you're really in Japan na, no? Magsisink in na sa'yo. And eto, kita nyo tong picture na ito sa left side, tawag dyan, Jinriki siya. So, ang naghihila dyan ay tao. So, take note lang na hindi siya carried. Ito ay being pulled. Hinihila siya ng tao. And on the right side, Oga Aquarium Gao or the Environmental Education Facility. So dito may aquarium na malaki, no? So marami kaming iba't ibang sea creatures, mga species na nakita. Ako first time ko makakita ng penguin, ng bear, polar bear, illuminating na jellyfishes and all, no? Marami. Masaya mag-explore diyan sa aquarium. Participants experience Japanese customs such as the Japanese culture tea ceremony at the Rakushian Tea House. So in history, ang mga guest daw dyan parang mga wealthy merchant family, ano? So i-share ko lang dito sa part na ito, kung makikita nyo, yung naka-white polo na guy, may butas dun sa likod niya. Dito, bago kami mag-start ng ceremony, papasok pa lang kami, they called my attention that I have to be the first one daw na pumasok. At dyan nila ako pinapasok sa butas na yan. And I have to enter that yung butas na yan na ako ay nakaano lang, nakaluhod, no? Na ang panglakad ko, gamit lang yung dalawang kamao. So imagine nyo yun. Tsaka magkakasya ka lang naman talaga kapag talaga nakaluhod ka doon. So I don't know what's the reason behind that. Pero akala ko, susunod na sa akin yung mga kasamahan ko. Pero they just enter normally dun sa back door. Dun lang sila. So, curious, I asked yung mga tao doon kung anong reason nun. So, ang rason daw pala nun, the leader should be the first one to enter that and sa ganung manner as a sign of humility. And, parang kailangan maging role model ka rin sa mga constituents mo for them to see your humility. Parang ganun daw yung symbolism niya, no? And next is yung sweet appetizer. Itong matamis na to, masarap din siya bago kayo mag-start na consume yung inyong tea, no? Dito sa sulok, meron din silang prepare na flower and small guitar. I don't know kung anong basis nila, pero sabi, nilalagay daw yan depende sa mga sa guests. So may small guitar, I'm assuming siguro baka music, pero I don't know paano nila nalaman, no? And ayan, very quiet din dapat kapag ginagawa yung seremonya ng paggagawa ng tea for you to, kailangang marinig ninyo yung kalmadong atmosphere habang ginagawa yung tea, pakinig ninyo yung tubig, yung paghahalo, and all. So green tea siya. Yung manner of receiving, you have to receive it na dalawang kamay, tapos yuyuko ka syempre, magbabaw ka, and then iikot mo yung bowl bago ka humigop, ano. So, kailangan may sound din to let them know that you're really liking the tea, and to let them know that you're already done or you're finished consuming it. Ang mga servers dyan, may mga rules sila, hindi na lang kami ganun ka-familiar, pero they have to wear kimono, mga naka-kimono sila. Now, the traditional Japanese experience in Onsen in Yumoto, enjoying the Japanese dinner and breakfast banquet. So basically, ito talaga yung pinaka favorite ko. So na-enjoy ko itong stay namin doon sa traditional house. During our stay, pinagsuot lang din kami ng kimono. So ayan, masasarap yung food na inoffer nila sa amin, prepare nila sa amin. May list of dishes dyan. And ayan, again, tinawag na naman ako sa gitna. Talagang they are very particular sa head kasi ng isang grupo or sa isang organization. So I have to be seated daw dun sa parang pinakakabisera nila. So as the leader of the batch. And during our meal, tinawag kami lahat to witness the preparation of the Ishiyaki special cuisine. Niluluto ito, very captivating siya kasi talagang kita mo, niluluto siya gamit yung mainit na bato. So isda rin siya, may gulay and all. Very relaxing na panoodin yung ganun during meal. And then yung manner naman, habang nakain kayo tapos yung kasama mo, kailangan na maglagay ng water o ng drink sa kanyang baso, kailangan yung katabi ang maglalagay sa kanya. So, pag ginawa yun sa'yo ng katabi mo, ikaw nilagyan ng tubig, you have to reciprocate it. Kailangan mo ring siyang lagyan. In my case, yan, katabi ko yung lalaki, no, may edad-edad na rin, ano. So, panay yung tagay niya sa akin. Eh, alcohol pa naman yung binibigay niya. So, ayan, medyo napainom tayo at napasubo tayo. So, yung kanin hindi pa rin luto. During habang nakain na kayo, dun pa lang lulutuin. Yung serbedora naman lalapit kapag luto na. Para patayin yung apoy. Meron ding hot spring sa gabi, pwede kayong pumunta. In my case, pumunta din ako sa gabi. At yung hot spring, nandun na rin yung pinaka parang CR or dun pwedeng maligo, mag-shower. And wala siyang cubicle. Kumbaga sabay-sabay lang kayong maliligo doon. Ano? And then, yung aming bedroom, sa papag, unexpectedly, very cozy siya. Masarap matulog. Malambot din yung nakalatag. Tapos may aircon din naman siya. Cozy talaga matulog din sa papag. Masaya. Very, one of my favorite talaga during my stay dito dahil I feel na we're really part of the Japanese community. Okay, next ay yung Japanese culture experience ng Namahage ritual. Ito ay matatagpuan sa Oga City. Yung alamant o legend ng Namahage, one day daw kasi, ang Han Emperor, nagdala siya ng five demonic ogres na nangunguha daw ng crops, nangunguha ng young women, nangunguha ng mga bad crying children. Ngayon, itong mga villagers, syempre, takot na takot sila. Umisip sila ng paraan. Trinik nila yung mga ogres, itong mga demonic, na to, tawag dyan na mahage, no? Na pag daw nakagawa sila ng 1,000 staircase, yung may step, papunta sa temple, before dawn o bago mag-umaga, ibibigay nila lahat ng kanilang young women. So ngayon, ginawa naman itong mga namahagi na ito, yung staircase. Nung naabot na nila, 999. So isa na lang ang kulang. May isang wais na villager, nag-imitate siya ng sound ng manok, indicating that it's already morning. So narinig ito nung mga namahagi, nung ogres natin. Na-surprise sila at nadismaya sila. Sa dismaya nila, hindi na nila tinuloy yung isang natitira. Ang ginawa nila, umalis na at they never returned na. So, itong namahagi na to, naging part siya ng tradition. So, every New Year's Eve, nangyayari, may mga nagko-costume tapos pumupunta sila sa mga bahay-bahay, ganyan. So, pinanood sa amin yung mga videos na nangunguha nga ng mga batang umiiyak. Pero parang, it's just part of the practice. Tapos iyakan nga yung mga bata kasi syempre akala nila kukuhanin sila. Yung parang counterpart dito sa atin, mga naka-costume sila, parang mga moryones sa atin pag mahal na araw. So ayun, para ma-appreciate din namin, pinagsuot din kami ng mga costume ng mga namahagi. Ngayon, during the ritual, naranasan pala namin yung ritual, yung pagpupunta, pagbabahay-bahay ng mga namahagi. So nasa isang bahay kami, pinuntahan kami ng mga namahagi. Talaga nananakot sila, talagang sisigaw sila and all, ganyan. Tapos pag alis nila, may mga nalalaglag na small pieces of straw. Ito daw ay kino-consider na good luck charms, or it brings good fortune and blessings for New Year. So, pwede nyo pulutin, pwede nyo kolektahin, tapos bigay nyo sa mga bata. Ganun daw ang ginagawa nila, nilalagay sa bine-bracelet, nilalagay sa ulo and all. Kaya ako, kita nyo dito, may isa akong picture na nilagay ko siya sa noo ko. I considered it blessing, more blessings of wisdom at understanding, at for me to absorb everything I learned dyan sa ano na rin, sa program ano. So, may moral lesson din naman yan. Di naman talaga sila demonic lang. Kaya sila nagbabahay-bahay. Naghahanap sila ng mga suwail o pilyong bata, ganyan. Tsaka yung mga asawa daw na hindi daw inaalagaan yung mga magulang. So, ang lesson niya talaga, magpakabait. Nung umaalis din naman yung mga namahagi na nananakot, ganun din yung pinupunto nila, magpakabait. Otherwise, kukuhanin ka talaga. And also, na-experience din namin, one of my favorite din, nagawa kami ng sarili naming namahagi. Kami ang nag-paint niyan, gumawa ng buhok, yung namahagi wall hangings. And fortunately, nauwi namin siya dito sa Pilipinas bilang souvenir namin. Participants also engage in various activities to deepen our appreciation of Japan. So DIY na lamang namin to, no? Sama-sama kami, in-explore namin yung bustling and very famous Shibuya Crossing in Tokyo. Really, it feels like para ka nasa music video, seeing the people blend dun sa lanes from different directions once na nag-green light. Ito po ay busy intersection, hindi nawawalan ng natawid every time naka-green light. So ayan, pasyal-pasyal kami. This is also the Tokyo Center. At syempre, hindi namin pinalampas yung very famous na papanood natin sa TikTok, ano, yung Ichikran Ramen sa Japan, Tokyo. Really, I testify na this is one of the most delicious I've ever tasted na ramen. Masarap siya. So ito yung setup. May sarili ka ng parang gripo dyan ng tubig. Dito sa blinds na to, tataas yung blinds. Diyan nagsiserve yung mga servidor nila, mga servers nila. Diyan ibibigay yung mga pagkain nyo. So hindi nyo naman sila makikita. Kamay lang yung makikita ninyo. So ayan, tunay na masarap talaga siya. So pag pumunta kayo ng Tokyo, itry nyo po yan. And then, of course, taking photos with the iconic statue of the famous dog, Hachiko. So, malapit lang din naman ito sa Shibuyan Crossing. So, hindi din namin pinalagpas. Itong si Hachiko, meron siyang movie. Available na siya sa sa Netflix. You can watch that. I think 2009 on film pa ito. Just as a background, si Hachiko kasi is a very loyal dog daw. Famous dog siya na lagi niyang kasama yung niya, amo niya sa Shibuyan Crossing every time papasok ito sa trabaho. At pagbalik nito, nag-aabang na ulit si Hachiko doon sa spot na yon. Tapos one day, nagkaroon ng tragedy. Ah, yung amo niya namatay, it passes away because parang heart attack ata. So, si Hachiko, pumupunta pa rin siya faithfully dun sa spot na pinagkikitaan nila until parang ang span lang ng buhay niya, nag-span siya ng 1 decade and 2 years. Namatay din si Hachiko at that very same spot. So ayan, dyan siya pinagawa ng bronze statue. So doon din siya namatay na naghihintay pa rin kay Parker. Kumbaga naaawa na yung mga tao. Ito ay Akita dog. And pag Akita dog daw, hindi daw ganun katalino. So hindi unlike yung other dog, talaga makikita mo nagma-manifest yung loyalty nila. So ito yung parang first Akita dog na nag-manifest ng ganun. To that extent, hinintay talaga niya yung amo hanggang siya din mamatay na at that very exact spot. So ayan, ito yung Shibuyan Crossing. Also, learning about neutralization efforts to conserve efforts for the Konimasu fish at Lake Tazawa. Sa mga tao ng Lake Tazawa, very important ang Konimasu. Farming kasi is difficult in their place surrounding farmland. So, nagkaroon ng bad harvest at growing need for electricity. And in order to stimulate rice production, increase irrigation, and generate electricity, a plan to dilute the Tama River's acidity by diverting it into the Lake Tazawa began in 1942 40. So, ang nangyari, yung lake na parang na-contaminate siya sort of ng acidic water. And Kunimasu didn't thrive, namatay, and only ang natira yung Ugui Japanese days survive. So, ayan, ito yung pinapakain kong mga isda dyan sa picture. And I think year 2015, they were again discovered itong Kunimasu, pero sa ibang lakes na. That is why there is now neutralization and restoration efforts to bring back the Kunimasu fish to its original home sa Lake Tazawa without affecting yung rice production or electricity generation. Ayan, dyan din namin binisita yung Kunimasu Museum of the Future. Kaya ayan, merong sample ng Kunimasu fish dyan. Ayan, tunay na fish yan. Diyan din namin natutunan yung iba't ibang information. Pinanood din kami ng mga video regarding Kunimasu. We also had environmental education, energy, and school exchange experience with the Daisen Umagari Junior High School. It fascinates me that at an early age, ito pong mga pupils na ito in Japan are already learning renewable energy as part of their curriculum. They even have RE prototypes which demonstrates how the electricity is being generated. So, meron silang mga prototype na solar, hydro, wind, geothermal, and even nuclear. And dito naman sa right side, we had the opportunity to have a discussion with Akita University graduate students studying renewable energy then and other courses then. We were able to exchange ideas and insights regarding RE and also on personal matters about din sa scholarships nila, programs, ganong katagal, kamusta yung aral, and what are they going to do kapag nakabalik na sila sa kanya-kanya nilang bansa. Additionally, participants learned about the energy circulation with Konohoshi Company, which reinforced the importance of living harmony with the nature. Ang CEO niyan si Yoshitaka Ohara. What they basically do is forest resource utilization, consulting, simple forest diagnosis services, forest lodging service, forest education programs. He just taught us of reconnecting forests and people to create a cycle of resources and economy. So pumunta kami doon sa mga treehouse na siya mismo yung nag-initiate na gumawa. Pumunta kami sa loob ng forest to attract yung reason niya, kaya niya ginawa yung mga houses na yun to attract people and eventually may mga sumunod na rin sa kanya. He really want to create a society where people visit forests, enjoy the benefits of nature, and develop a sense of attachment and respect for natural world, leading to positive actions for the future of our environment. So, all in all, these cultural experiences, among others, enrich the participants' understanding and connection to Japan's culture and environmental initiatives. And also, we had courtesy visits. We had the opportunity to meet the Akita City Mayor Hozumi Motomu-san and Akita Prefecture Vice Governor Kazumi Saruta-san. And closing ceremony. Although our agency, NEDA Central, does not require in our program to formulate re-entry action plan kasi I think 6 months ata yung minimum duration to formulate one. Nonetheless, we still prepared and discussed them with the JICA. So the final days were dedicated to formulating, brainstorming, practicing, and ayan, actually presenting na yung mga prepare namin na uh, action plans, which were critic and refined in collaboration with local experts. So the course concluded with a formal evaluation and a closing ceremony farewell party, celebrating the program success and the bonds formed among the participants and the facilitators. After the action plan presentations, we heard insights from the local expert observers. There's a portion we had evaluation assessing the whole program, both for the technical and administrative or logistical aspect. So for this, they really exhibited commendable humility in accepting and genuinely encouraging us to even provide constructive criticism to improve their future programs. Then next, nagkaroon kami ng awarding of certificates of completion, speech from the SIA representative, yun yung partner ng JICA, and the JICA director's speech. And they also asked me as the batch representative to deliver the farewell thank you speech. We also had a quick photo opportunity. Then ayun na, we proceed with the farewell party. Samtus meals were prepared. We had our cultural dance batch presentation. So, konting kasiyahan na yan. Nagkasayawan na, kantahan and all. So, I also render a song while playing a short AVP that I prepared for everybody as a sign of my gratitude to my colleagues and to our facilitators. So may ilan-ilan ding mga naiyak, both sa participants and facilitators. Talagang mapapansin mo, soft-hearted ang mga Japanese. They really have personal attachment. We hug each other sa huli, symbolizing yung friendship and deep connections na napuo among the group. And finally, we bid each other our goodbyes. So ang conclusion, in summary, this program in Japan has provided practical insights on RE technologies. The program's blend of technical training and cultural immersion has enriched our understanding of traditions and way of life in Japan and sustainable energy practices. With Japan aiming for a 35% renewable energy share by 2030 and over 50% by 2050, their efforts to promote low carbon emissions for sustainable future align with and support our country's future energy scenario in a capsule as discussed during the Bagong Pilipinas town hall meeting last Friday. Having said all that, our energy strategic direction remains to gear towards affordable energy, reliability, resiliency, clean and sustainable energy for our beloved Mimaropa region. Lastly, I'm pleased to share with you the lecture materials, recording of this Reeco session, and the AVP on my JICA Japan journey, which we will be watching after this. So siguro, for your reference na rin, I'll be sharing yung completion report upon notation po ng mga signatories. By the way, aside from the technical parts, I'm also open po to answering queries if needed in case some of you in the future would be nominated for the programs like this. I must admit, the preparation process is a bit challenging and sort of laborious, especially on the admin part since marami talagang requirements na kailangan i-prepare and mostly are administrative in nature, bukod pa po dun sa mga essay exams, quizzes, and the other technical requisites. It's also a bit physically exhausting, so you really have to be prepared and maintain a good health. Ako, admittedly, medyo nagkulang ako on that part. Napagod talaga ako during process sa mga pagluwas-luwas. Kaya unfortunately, nung departure, nilalagnat na ako at ubo, tsaka nag-chills hanggang first 3 days ko sa Japan, I'm really not feeling well. Pero iniraos ko na rin kasi sayang talaga yung pagod. And thanks God, naka-recover naman ako eventually. But yes, I'd be more than willing to help, perhaps share some tips to make your applications and endeavors seamless as possible. Ngayon pa lang po, sabihin ko na mahalaga din talaga yung my foresight on the preparation phase to avoid yung mga delays and inconveniences. So isa po yun sa mga strategies na ginawa ko, yung pagiging prompt sa mga deadlines. Now, before I finally conclude, I would like to take this opportunity to thank my colleagues, the PMED team, for the support, especially to my chief, Ma'am Ami. Maraming salamat sa endorsement nyo po at sa pabaon din. Sabi nyo nga po ay parang ma'am na namin kayo sa PMED. Truly appreciate that, ma'am. Also to ARD for kind words and always believing in me sa program po na ito that would yield for something beneficial for all of us. Of course, kay Boss Dr. Teng, thank you po for my nomination at supportan nyo po. At sa lahat, sa inyo, sa buong NEDA Mimaropa, maraming salamat. Hopefully in the near future, marami pa sa atin yung sumunod na makapag-training or makapag-scholarship. Napakagandang opportunity. All right, I think that would be all for the discussion part. Thank you again for lending your time for this Reeco session. But as a wrap, I'm glad to share with you an AVP I prepared summarizing my JICA Japan journey. Let us all watch this.
"まだこの世界は僕を飼いならしてたいみたいだ」「望み通りだろう美しくもがくよ」「互いの砂時計眺めながらキスをしようよ」「さよならから一番遠い場所で待ち合わせよう」 は来た。昨日までは序章の序章で飛ばし読みでいいから、こっからが僕だよ。経験と知識とカビの生えかかった勇気を持って、未だかつてないスピードで君の元へダイブを。まどろみの中で生ぬるい甲羅に、ここでないどっかを夢見たよ。教室の窓の外に電車に揺られ運ばれる朝に、運命だとか未来とかって言葉がどれだけ手を伸ばそうと届かない場所で僕ら恋をする。時計の針も二人を横目に見ながら進む。こんな世界を二人で一生、いや何生でも生き抜いてゆこう。初めましてなんてさ、遥か彼方へと言い合って千年周期を一日で生きしよう。辞書にある言葉で出来上がった世界を憎んだ万華鏡の中で、8月のある朝、君は僕の前で歯に噛んでは済ましてみせた。この世界の教科書のような笑顔で、嘘みたいな日々を規格外の意味を悲劇だっていいから望んだよ。そしたらドアの外に君が全部抱えて立ってたよ。運命だとか未来とかって言葉がどれだけ手を伸ばそうと届かない場所で僕ら遊ぼうか。愛し方さえも君の匂いがした。歩き方さえもその笑い声がした。いつか消えてなくなる君のすべてをこの目に焼き付けておくことはもう権利なんかじゃない、義務だと思うんだ。運命だとか未来とかって言葉がどれだけ手を伸ばそうと届かない場所で僕ら恋をする。時計の針も二人を横目に見ながら進む。そんな世界を二人で一生、いや何生でも生き抜いてゆこう。
very much. Maraming salamat po. Arigato gozaimasu.